updates. Well, from one constituency to the other, the Ghana National Fire Service says its preliminary investigations point to arson in the fire incident at the Electoral Commission's office at Fomena. Police have taken up the matter as fire officials prepare to conclude their investigations. A week after the elections, Nanaya Ojima went back to the Fomena constituency to follow up on violence recorded on election day.
According to an eyewitness on normal duties in the EC office, a liquid smelling like petrol came through the window and fire followed a minute after. It came at a time officials of the commission were preparing to declare independent parliamentary candidate Andrew Esiama Mwakon as MP-elect for the Fomena constituency. This had infuriated supporters of the NPP who suspected the election was rigged. A gallon smelling of petrol was found around the building. A hole was also made in the window of the building, suspected to have been used as passage for the fire. DO3 Oscar Opoku leads the fire service in Fomena.
Take a gallon of petrol here. You just smell, it's a smell inside, and you can just smell a petrol inside. So that one too is an exhibit. So most of the EC office, their documents have gone bent. But notwithstanding the ballot boxes and the papers are all intact.
At the dawn of the incident, some supporters of the NPP had gathered at the collation center at Fomena, sited a few meters from the EC office. They were protesting what they called rigged election in favor of the independent candidate. The agitated crowd was stopped by the armed police and military personnel from invading the center to disrupt the process. It is suspected the mob started the inferno, but police are yet to make an arrest. The constituency had recorded a number of violent incidents prior to the election, justifying reasons for being tagged a flashpoint. Seth Odo, who worked for the independent candidate in the Fomena parliamentary race, is a victim of the violent assault. Seth still wears reddened eyes, which hardly sees after the incident. His face is bruised and marks of assault are still visible all over his body. Seth was beaten on election eve as he visited polling agents.
And then they chased me. And so when they caught me, they started beating me with machetes and with sticks, and they were beating me here and there. So I tried to dodge some of the bros, and others who hit me because there were many. So, and they wanted to kidnap me. They said I should board on the aboboya that they brought so that they would take me away. So I also decided to run away for the second time. And then one of them slapped me and then I fell. And that was the end.
Another victim, Eja Anoche, from the same camp, was assaulted on the streets of Fomena after casting his ballot at the Salvation Army polling station. He was accused of taking a snapshot of his ballot. Police was able to arrest 2 persons with machete on them. In both cases, victims point to heavily built men associated with an NPP executive in the area, but party denied the allegation. NPP parliamentary candidate Philip Oforiasante spoke to Joy News.
Be a fool to do that. I mean, I'll be a fool to do that. Why would I do that? Don't pass it from my stronghold. Why would I do that? Or Chichire, it's my stronghold. Or Bobrias, it's my stronghold. Why would I do that? Or Abedrum, or Nyabrim, or Akrezongo. These are my strongholds. Let nobody deceive nobody. Trust me. Let no man deceive nobody that anybody has a stronghold. The stronghold belongs to NPP. Why would I do that? I'll be a fool to do that, and I'll never ever. If I hear it or see it, I'll call the person to order.
Before the interview on the day of election, the Joy News team cited one of the 2 persons arrested by the police in the guest house of the NPP candidate taking food from the residence. Police say he had been granted bail for further investigation. Superintendent Fee Ochel is District Police Commander.
So they informed me and I said they should bring them to the office. They brought them to the office. I took custody of it. And then we caution them for holding those things and release them on bail. So that the case will continue. We go into it to see what actually they were doing with respect of it.
JoyNews investigation confirmed the Salvation Army polling station before the end of polls was taken over by some heavily built men. Sources say it took the intervention of police to stop the men who had issued ballot papers to themselves to cast their ballots. Superintendent Ochil says all the issues are under investigations. He says the assault victims are yet to follow up with their medical reports at the police station. The Fomena constituency has remained calm after the election, especially as the choice the MP-elect makes in parliament can win majority in parliament for either side. From the Fomena constituency for Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
This is still your election headquarters, and there are increasing nationwide protests following the EC's declaration of the December 7 polls. And NDC supporters in various regions have taken to the streets to protest what they describe as fraudulent polls. On Tuesday, we reported demonstrations from Seshi and Kumasi. This morning, supporters of the opposition party are back on the streets in Tamale. Here are visuals of the protesters who are alleging vote fraud. Our correspondent in the northern region, Martina Bugri, joins us live with some updates from Tamale. Hello, Martina. Is that demonstration still ongoing? And do you see the presence of police there?
The process started this morning at the Kulukuli school, we call. It came through to the Barclays or Atap Bank Junction traffic light, then through to the mosque, to the Lamasebu police station, and then they are heading towards the industrial area now. It started very peacefully. It's been orderly so far, even though they have burned some ties at vantage points like the Lamasebu police station, the Lamasebu market, but largely it's been peaceful throughout the process. We have police officers who are ensuring that they adhere to the route designated for them to follow. And the organizers are also helping in that regard, I must say. At the Lamasebu police station, when they started setting fire on tires, some of them did not agree. And so there was a banter between the two groups. But finally, they continued. And so while some are setting fire, others are putting it off to ensure that they have an orderly march to the end.
Martina, who is leading this demonstration from the NDC?
We have the second vice chairman of the national second vice chair, that's Sofa Zoka. We also have the northern regional chairman, Alaji Isa Mobila. We have other party executives from the region here who have joined in this march.
Have you been able to get a word from them? What are they saying?
They are even far from where we are. They will not have access to them now until the march is over at the Jubilee Park, where they would address the media.
I just saw a placard on our screens, the stolen verdict. But tell us generally what these demonstrators are saying on their placards and even as they chant on the streets of Tamale.
What the sense you get is that they believe that the elections was won by the NDC, and that the Electoral Commission is stealing the election or stealing the rights of the people and handing over to the NPP. That is the sense that you get amongst those who are demonstrating. And they say they would continue until they get positive results.
Martina Bugri, we'll leave it here. That's a woman in the northern region bringing us updates on that demonstration you see there organized by the NDC. Let's head to the Upper West region now, because supporters of the NDC there are also heading to the EC office in the region. They are protesting declaration of the results. Rafiq Salam joins us from Wa Central. Hello, Rafiq. What's the story in Wa?
The situation is now calmer now than before. You know, they started the demonstration right at the NDC Regional Secretariat. They moved through all principal streets in the Ward Township before heading to the regional office of the Upper West EC. So when they got there, the policemen were already there. They were already stationed there. They wouldn't allow them to go beyond the gate of the EC. But the leadership of these demonstrators insisted that they would go in there and then presented their petition. So in the ensuing argument, so some supporters of the party started burning tires and burning all gases around the EC. And so the whole place was engulfed with smoke. But they were still chanting and also firing knockouts right here in the Ward municipality. And so after that, they were given that opportunity because the Upper West Regional Commander of the Ghana Police Service, DCOP, Francis Abodja, was to intervene and then allowed the leadership of the demonstrators to go in to be the regional director of the EC, Mr. Ali Osman Adamu. And so after it was there that their petition was read.
And was the media allowed into that meeting? What exactly was discussed?
There was. Hello?
Hello, Rafiq, I'm asking if the media was allowed into that meeting between leadership of the protesters and the regional EC boss.
Yeah, it was actually covered by the media. It wasn't a video of a sort, but it was a petition that was the NDC wanted to present to the EC. The media were allowed, but you know, surprisingly, they didn't allow us to take our microphones into this particular meeting. But we were able to capture whatever that transpired at that meeting. The NDC were demanding about 5 things. What key among them is the recollation of the 2020 polls. Which of the are we looking at, parliamentary or presidential? They are talking about all presidential votes should be recollated because the NDC, the petition that was read by Mohamed Kando, stated that they think that the NDC has won with clean hands the 2020 polls, and they think that John Dramani Mahama should be declared the outright winner of this election. And so for them, I think that if this recollation is done, the NDC will be declared. But as I speak to you now, the fire service has just arrived at the scene trying to douse all the fire because all the glass, all the around the EC is now visual of the camps of being there. So the fire service just came to the scene trying to douse the fire there.
Rafiq, yesterday we received a release from the police asking that persons who wanted to protest should inform the police about their plans so that the police could guide and also protect them in the process. Are you able to tell us if these protesters notified the police in the region about this protest they embarked on this morning?
I've not spoken to the police about whether they had been able to notify them to give them the permission to hit the street. But you see, this particular demonstration, because well guided by the police, well coordinated, because I can see the police following them right from the start of the regional party secretary and after the EC. And as the police are still standing, including the regional commander of the Ghana Police Service, GCOP Francis Abodja. He himself is right in front of the gate, and so I can speak to them on some of these issues, whether they have been given permit or not before they embark on this season. But more fire tenders are still coming in trying to I can count as many as 2, and then the third one is even on its way because the place is closer to the Ghana Fire Service and they're trying to douse of the fire.
Can you describe the fire to us?
Hello?
Yes, Rafiq, I'm asking you to describe the fire to us.
It was heavy in the beginning because most of the gases here are not all that tall right here. But you see, the fire was sitting about 1,000 flaming out before the fire service came in. So they wouldn't have much to do regarding that was the fire.
Apart from the tires, I heard you say, were set ablaze, what else has been torched?
Oh, the only thing it was only the tires that were set ablaze and also the gases that you know we are in the dry season and the Hamatan has actually set in. So most of these gases are already dry, and so any little touch will make it to be on fire. And so the situation somehow I can report to you that is now calmer than it was before.
Thank you, Rafiq. Rafiq Salam joining us from the Upper West region, where some NDC supporters have trooped to the EC office there. We understand they've presented a petition to the regional boss and they're demanding recollation of the presidential polls in that region. Earlier, we took you to Tamale in the northern region, where NDC supporters are also protesting. We'll keep our eyes in the various regions as the party insists an independent audit of this year's election will put their hearts at ease. We'll let you know as and when whatever happens in the regions. Away from the elections, it is all lamentation as scores of traders have lost valuables, industrial sewing machines, bales of clothing, and not to mention huge sums of money invested in the latest fire that has gutted the sewing and cloth section of the Makola markets. The fire is believed to have started last night. My colleague Benjamin Akakbo has been to the area to speak with traders who are alleging arson.
Start talking.
Mama V, I can hear you. Your voice is very faint. But here, this morning in Cantamanto, now this is exactly where, a lot of traders engage in knitting, in working on clothes for students, their school attire and all of that. And this morning, it is thick smoke, raging fire, a lot of destroyed property, and many sad faces that have greeted us right here in Cantamanto. I'm sure you can see on your shot, the images coming from here. A lot of, property razed to the ground. And in fact, from what I have been told, the fire started yesterday, last night. People got calls, started trooping in here. But by the time they got in here, the fire was not one that they could control. And indeed, this morning, the scarred bricks, blocks, and all of that paint a certain story. Now, a lot of the people here have sewing machines, electric sewing machines that are burnt to a crisp, and it's been a field day for scavengers. Likely you can see some of them, scavenging scrap metal, aluminium and other products that they mean to use. But we also have, information that to right where exactly I'm pointing, there's a woman who cooks food, not necessarily for commercial purposes, but that supposedly, per the accounts we've been given, is where the fire started, gutting this entire section of the Cantamanto market. Now, like I said earlier, here the focus is sewing of school clothes for students and all of that, school uniforms, I should say, and all of this has been burnt to a crisp. Now, there are a lot of tales people have been telling me, but let's start interacting with some of those here to find out what exactly they do here and what the story is. Mommy, morning.
Good morning.
What's your friend saying?
Mediajo is here.
Mami adwa na den potin na wo ye wa ha.
Pacho me pom squat area, me to squat area.
Nti opam eton school atade. Wo store na e wo hefa side.
Pacho e wonim ha. Awo ha no.
Na nsa na ye ba TV so no na wo ka se no wanya contract bi a waje cheche mu.
Me pacho ya contract no omo de ba edwam ha no. Na ya jike no bi enya bi. In last month in the buy and yeah but to abani in and ya twin so. And run a bibia ye na. Me chichama on be amon. Me chama ma fe die. Obia o sabon se bia sabon se tete bon se bia ba fa be 50 ni ade. A mo be amon. En ni nyina na ashe.
Enti chese nini na wo ha a chese ni na ashe.
Dwemu ha. Ni nyina wo dwemu. Ni nyina ashe.
Na niama a wahwere sei no okoje ho loan bi ana bibisa.
Mbacho loan.
Loan by saying the eka.
But any money, any wins some by the account, I basically 5 billion, then it's 6,000.
5,096,000. It's all Kasabaya 50,000 muho Ghana cedis, almost 60,000 Ghana cedis. And a washery.
And that's my colleague Benjamin Akapo speaking to a trader there at the Kantamanta market, not Mokola, forgive my slip. And we'll be keeping our eyes there as well. We expect the Ghana Fire Service to investigate what exactly caused the fire. But as many importers continue to practice illegality by importing right-hand vehicles into the country, road safety experts are expressing worry about how the conversion from right to left-hand can affect vehicle efficiency. We've got more in an Adum investigative piece.
Ghana's automobile industry keeps growing, even though that industry is struggling to get rickety vehicles off the country's roads. A recent statistics indicate that both commercial and passenger vehicles are forecast to grow at a healthy rate in Ghana. According to the research firm Model Intelligence, the rising vehicle per population ratio stood at 50,000 per 1,000 population, but increased in 2010 to 73 vehicles per 1,000 population in 2017. But one thing destroying the country's automobile industry is road carnage. Statistics say there are 10,000 recorded road accidents annually in Ghana, whilst these accidents cause over 1,600 people to lose their lives, leaving about 15,000 people with various degrees of injuries. Experts blame this on bad roads plus type and condition of vehicles. One worrying trend currently clothing the country's automobile industry is the importation and conversion of right-hand vehicles.
Right hand or right steering hands must not be used in the country. After 4th August 1974, Ghana shifted from driving on the left to the right. Okay, and I mean, we all were singing, and then I was quite a little boy, went to stand by the roadside to see what happens. But the cars are no longer driving on the left side, they are now driving on the right side, which means that the steering must be placed on the left of the vehicle and not the right of the vehicle. Now the laws are there right from then that nobody should import. I mean, time was given for a while that you can bring those vehicles, or those vehicles are in existence, but within a period of time, I think it was 2 years or so, no vehicle which has the right steering can be driven on the roads. And the law worked. I think it was SMS regime, that's either Akufu's regime, General Akufu's regime. That is where we changed. Thereof, there has been a law that you cannot bring that vehicle to Ghana, and therefore when you bring it, it must be confiscated.
The right-hand vehicles imported range from small to cargo, with many of them used for commercial purposes. This importation is unlawful. According to the Customs, Excise and Preventive Management Act 2002, Act 634, Section 89D states, 1. It is prohibited for any person to import a right-hand steering motor vehicle into this country unless otherwise authorized by the minister. 2. Subject to any other provision of this law, a prohibited vehicle imported into the country shall be seized and forfeited to the state, as substituted by the Customs, Excise and Preventive Service Management Amendment Act 2002, Act 634. But hundreds of such right-handed vehicles are being imported through the country's ports. A road safety management expert, Cecil Ebugabra, confirms that such act hinders the country's agenda to sanitize the industry.
The main thing is that electricals will not be the same. We have something we call the OBD2 switch, and this is the onboard diagnosis. Any vehicle that was manufactured from 1990 or so has got this switch, and therefore made the ordinary mechanic quite redundant, because the ordinary mechanic will no longer use his brains. This time it is computer. And then this switch is behind the steering. So if you are moving from the right to the left, that means you are going to move the whole electricals. And then one cable could have maybe about 16 tiny cables. What are you going to do? Okay. Now, apart from that, we have the brake system, okay, where you have to move the brake system from the right to the left. You have to move a lot of things. You have to move the battery where it stays from the right maybe to the left, or the left to the right. You have to move a lot of things. The steering rack, which is the main thing, must be changed, and all this has already been calibrated. So the vehicle that we see with the right steering, which has been converted to the left steering, wouldn't be the same as the original.
Dome News checks reveal that authorities charged to oversee and enforce this regulation are rather permitting the importation under the guise of penalty payment. The chairman of Vehicle and Assets Dealers Association of Ghana, Bernard Intrakwa, confirms this to our news team.
Sir, a right-hand drive cars no makra bi pen. Na de tie ne say ebri bi atwa mu no na eni hokra na nya de a ye import nti o ma de penalty to so se na be ya penalty na o de to so na kire se wo ba na otua penalty na e wo port ho na ankasa no eni se car no akra wotumi drive na o de bakrom.
A key worry to road safety experts is the conversion of these right-hand vehicles when they arrive in the country. Dome News investigations reveal there are some local mechanics dotted, especially across the capital Accra, who carry out the conversion from right to left-hand drive. But do these mechanics have the expertise and the right technology to do safe and proper conversion? Mr. Gabra, who has been practicing for years, doubts this.
The wiring harness will not be done properly, like I mentioned. The steering rack, the dashboard needs a complete change. The pedal assembly, where you have the brake, clutch, accelerator, if it's a manual system, needs to be changed from the right to left, and that also needs calibration. If it's a brake alone and then accelerator, it all needs calibrations, and that will not work. Your wiper system, your wiper motor and its mechanism have to change from cleaning from the left, from cleaning to the right, and so on. So a lot of work will be done on this, and that is why for us as road safety experts, we'll say that vehicle is not roadworthy. I mean, we should continue and make sure that they are banned.
These are some of the vehicles captured by our investigation team at various auto fixing shops in Accra. As to whether these conversions done here are right or not, these auto repairers charge between 1,000 and 1,500 cedis for the conversion of each vehicle, depending on the vehicle type. The undercover team got some of these local repairers on camera.
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. 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 Wow. Wow, that's what the man is. Okay. Like me, different. Yeah, we should try. Attract air condition. We are one to track like me different. Cool. And to say estimate, you never say the artisan will say not say the air condition. We last price 1,800. And to say small one, we to say a type this year. I don't know say. We near okay, we okay. But Japan air belt. Okay, okay. Or if you say small one, I don't know say convert it no we are to say no more no just say be out yeah
at least over
1,000 oh okay but the cash no does on the so be on bibi
oh we a does on one there
okay
with me
okay.
The investigation team's curiosity was further heightened when we realized these right-hand vehicles are usually towed at night. Our checks revealed that most of these right-handed cars are imported from Japan and South Africa, among others. The road safety management expert Cecil Ebugabra strongly believes the act contributes to increasing road accidents recorded in the country.
The most important thing is road safety. Right, because if you are driving such a vehicle and it hasn't been calibrated so well, I mean, you find people even driving and then the whole car is, sideways, and somebody will look at it and say, oh, there's a problem with that particular going. These are the issues.
The motivation for the import of the right-hand drive is perceived to be cost because it is cheaper. JoyNews made several efforts to reach the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority on what their position is on the matter, but to no avail.
And that piece was produced by sister station Adum TV. Coming up shortly here on News Desk is Business Tuesday for details. Thank you for staying here on News Desk. Time now for business news. The Ghana Statistical Service is projecting to count more than 31 million people in the next housing census survey, which is due in April next year. The program, which was postponed due to the outbreak of COVID-19, is expected to run through a 15-day period. There's more in the following report.
The census will be used by government to formulate policies and programs for the next 10 years, after which another one will be conducted per the United Nations guidelines. Engaging master trainers of the housing census in Winnipeg, government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim assured that all necessary provisions, including financial resources, have been provided for the program and ready to take off. He was, however, quick to add that the outbreak of the coronavirus has created additional financing gap. His outfit has started engagements with government in order to receive funding.
We've had more geospatial resources that is helping us validate the demarcation exercise that we did. Moving into the area of financial preparedness, prior to the COVID-19, as we indicated, the government had provided resources through a World Bank facility for the conduct of the 2021 population housing census. Indeed, with the onset of the COVID, it's introduced other elements of cost, i.e. the PPEs that are sent 5,000 field officers will be needing to ensure respondents that we are adhering fully to the COVID-19 protocols. That has led to a funding gap of $12.6 million US. We've already initiated discussions with the Ministry of Finance, and we are pretty optimistic that this funding gap will be covered.
Head of Census Methodology, Owusu Keja, expressed the team's readiness to undertake the exercise.
We want our trainees to make sure that they grasp and to make sure that we all have the same level of understanding. And so sometimes people come in with their own understanding, and so deschooling them sometimes becomes a challenge. And that's what consistently we have tried to do. And then also getting the tablets was an issue because of the COVID that reared its head, but we have overcome that challenge. Okay.
More than 1,000 personnel are expected to undertake the exercise from April next year.
Now, my colleague Charles Aite engaged the CEO of the Ghana Commodities Exchange, Tusi Ivoi, on varied topics, including what the listing means for the future of Ghana's rice industry.
So we have witnessed the historic listing of milled rice onto the best. What exactly does this mean for the entire value chain?
It simply means that people can now come to a centralized platform to sell or to buy rice. They don't have to go around markets looking for it because we bring buyers and sellers together. And once you're integrated within our trading platform, trades can be done as quickly as, a few seconds. So we're making life a little bit easier when it comes to the marketing of rice after post-production. Before that, it also means that we're helping when it comes to storage and warehousing. So today you can find rice in the open market, but sometimes farmers will produce their rice, but they have nowhere to store it. So, they struggle, they'll lose some of it to post-harvest losses. Now, the more warehouses we bring on board, they can store their rice until they're ready to sell, and then hopefully get better markets, more fair and transparent pricing. Yeah.
Of course, it's very timely, the initiative that you've taken, because we continue to report cases of a rice glut across the country and issues of post-harvest losses. But how best can this transform the face of rice farming in Ghana?
I think the more we're able to produce, given that we're able to store the rice, we can start to actually have access to local rice or Ghana rice that we can consume. After that, if we have excess, we can actually start to export. Today, we say that we need to import rice. On the one hand, it's because we're not producing enough, but at the same time, some of what's being produced is being lost, to post-harvest losses, poor storage conditions. So this is just one of the, let's say, interventions that's coming to help to improve the value chain. We can store rice, not lose it to losses just because of poor storage conditions, sell it within our market, consume it, and continue to increase production so that we can eventually even export some good rice.
Well, this is a platform that brings buyers and sellers, and from the standpoint of sellers, they're looking at quality. How is the platform insisting of quality and even helping rice farmers to have their products much more of a, that particular spec that meets the demand of the sellers?
Okay, I think there are two things. When we talk about quality, there's literally the basic quality. You want to make sure that this rice is clean, it's devoid of insects, foreign matter. So we ensure that. That's part of our our premise.
Sure.
Everything that is sold through the exchange is guaranteed for quality. It means that it's certified by the Ghana Commodity Exchange. Before that, it's actually certified. Our warehouses are certified by the Ghana Standards Authority and by the Securities and Exchange Commission. They're licensed. So they make sure that we stick to all of these rigorous procedures when it comes to quality. So anyone coming to buy through the exchange, that is our stamp of guarantee.
My colleague Charles Ait is speaking to the CEO of the Ghana Commodity Exchange. And the Commodity Exchange started in November 2018, and it's a marketplace where buyers and sellers transact business through structured pricing regimes. That'll be all for business news here on News Desk. Coming up shortly, though, we've got sports to stay.